What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Mayrand podcast. Today, my guest is Parker White. Parker is a free skiing legend. He has now been a pro skier for over 15 years, accumulating legendary segments with Level 1 productions in the Real Ski competition of X Games, through his web series The Big Picture, and more recently with the trilogy of films Nothing, Nothing New, and Something. Last season, Parker led the charge for a Level 1 full movie comeback. In their movie Wasteland, Parker produced a banger segment split between street skiing and Alaska skiing. In this episode, we talked about a bunch of stuff ranging from the production of Wasteland, getting back into the streets after a 10-year break, filming in Alaska for the first time, and much, much more. Big thanks to the sponsors, Access Boardshop and Dic Anns restaurants, and also huge shout out to the patrons on Patreon. Let's go! Mr. Parker White, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, dude.
Yeah, man, stoked to have you on. How's it going?
It's good. I'm just chilling in my house in Washington right now. We're going into like peak rainy season, so now I'm just trying to do everything that I was supposed to do in the summer and didn't. Get everything all buttoned up for winter.
What's the to-do list looking like?
I'm just kind of getting this. I bought some property like 5 minutes down the road from me here. And I scored this trailer for free, like out of this trailer park next to my house. So I've just been kind of like remodeling that and trying to get that like livable and rentable on my land.
Nice. And where are you in Washington, approximately?
I live in Maple Falls, so it's like most people would just know it as Baker. I guess like I would just live close to Mount Baker.
Nice.
I'm like 20 minutes from the Canadian border, like 45 minutes from Bellingham. Bellingham's like the closest big town.
Yeah, not too far from Vancouver.
I'm closer to Vancouver than Seattle.
Damn.
Yeah.
So you could get your citizenship.
Yeah, well, I just got married actually to a Canadian this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you very much. But yeah, we're doing the opposite first, and then we'll see where we go from there. But yeah, she's getting her residency in the States.
Nice. So you'll do kind of the Sammy Carlson thing, going in and live in Revelstoke for a bit?
No, it'll be the opposite. She's just going to come live in Baker.
Yeah, but eventually,
yeah, we're going to kind of cross that bridge when we come to it, but that's not on the table. Yeah, she's from really close to Revelstoke, actually.
Nice.
Yeah, like in between Revelstoke and Nelson.
And I think it's been a couple of years that you've been living there, right? How is it, that West Coast life for someone who grew up in Vermont?
Yeah, it's not that rare of a migration, right, for the the East Coast skier to go west.
Yeah,
but it's sick. I kind of lived all over. I lived in Mammoth for a while. I lived in Montana for like 7 years. Spent a year up in Canada, and I've been here for 5 years now.
Okay.
And I love Baker, man. It's a pretty dreamy spot. It's, regardless of the ski mountain, like the ski mountain's the best ski mountain I've ever rode in my whole life. Like for the kind of riding that I like to do, it's just so much fun. But more than that, we just have a really good community of friends here. And it's just an awesome spot.
There's a lot of ski communities or ski town that are kind of full of life in the winter, but in the summer it dies down. Is it like that for Baker? What kind of town is it?
It's not really a ski town. That's the thing, is it's just kind of like this weird, really small town in the forest, I guess.
Yeah. Is it a bit like Mount Hood?
Yeah.
That's the thing that made me laugh when I went once to Hood back in the days, and it made me laugh going to Sandy, the town close to it.
Uh-huh.
And people didn't even know there was skiing close, and they never skied in their life. And I was like, guys, what's up?
Yeah, well, that's like exactly where I live. Is it's like a lot of there's like a community of like riders and shredders who live here, but it's maybe only 400 people who live here year round or something. And then so it's either just like, like meth heads or like snowboarders, and there's not really much in between. But seriously though, it's just like it's not a I don't think of it as like a ski town. It's just kind of this like it's just a very unique town in the forest up here in the Pacific Northwest that happens to be next to some awesome riding.
And Baker, from I've never been, but it seems like from everything that we've seen, it's kind of a mecca type of spot for powder skiing or for booter filming, I guess.
Yeah, it's like I definitely say like I'm like one of the only skiers it feels like on the whole mountain. It's kind of more of a mecca in snowboarding.
Okay.
There's just a lot of snowboard history here between like Craig Kelly, Mike Rankwit, Tex Davenport, Temple Cummins, whole Mount Baker hardcore crew. There's just like a rich snowboard history, but there's not been, for whatever reason, there's not been a ton of skiers. Like skiers come ride here, but there's not been a ton of skiers who have actually like posted up here or lived here or
Mm.
made it their home, really.
But definitely a lot who will use it as a trip segment in a movie, or
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just like what you can just ride from the chair is like so rad and so filmable. So I think it's an attraction for it, but it's also like it's hard to hit right, you know. It's low, so you got to like post up for a long time to really get it good. Because it's usually either like the best riding you've ever had in your life, or literally the worst, like
but
like raining to the top and then freezing over and just
isn't
absolutely
that like the classic for any POW filming?
sort of. But yeah, there's places that at least just stay colder.
Okay.
And then where we live, we're like so low elevation and so close to the ocean, the coast and the ocean, that it's like when it's on, it's on, and when
Mhm.
it's off, it's like so off. Don't ride.
Because when you said that thing of it can be the best or the worst, I just thought of Whistler right away.
Yeah, it's similar to that, but it's even lower.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But have you seen it? How different is it from the trip? You've done a lot of trips in Europe and a couple ones in Japan, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
How does it compare?
It's like I said, like Baker's my favorite place to ride in the world. Europe's a tough one to hit because it's like Europe's. I feel like anytime I've gone to Europe, it's been like, yo, we're getting a big storm, and then the travel to get there is so long that it's
You
like it's hard to hit it like preemptively, and then you get there
you get there too late.
and like the storm's going on, you're all jet lagged, or it's you get there too late, and then it's like I don't know. I've gotten kind of burned in Europe, where same thing, you just got to show up to Europe and do like a month over there or something. But it's super fun. I have really good friends in Europe. I think my favorite trips I've ever done have been with Sammy Ortlieb in his hometown in Switzerland. I just absolutely love his group of friends. I love that area. I love those mountains. It's so sick. Yeah, but I've gotten kind of burned on some Euro trips too, where you just kind of like go drink and like drink wine, eat super good food for 3 weeks and go home. And I'm like, well, I don't know if that was the most productive use of time, but it's always fun. It's like, it's high quality of life over there.
Yeah. You live the tourist life instead of the pro skier life.
I do a lot of tourist lifing on trips. I'm kind of all about the tourist life, dude. Life of indulgence. But yeah, and then Japan, I haven't been to Japan in a couple years. Japan is like the most different place that I've ever skied. And I love going to Japan, but it's like to me, Japan is like if mountains in Vermont got the best snow in the world.
With less trees.
Slightly less trees, slightly more spread out trees, yeah. But it's like where we ride in Hokkaido too, it's pretty, smaller, mellower mountains, but with just the greatest snow on earth. And then where I live, it's like just really sort of technical, steep, aggressive, featured terrain
Hmm.
with just gnarly, deep, wet powder.
The dream.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I just like the gnarliness kind of.
So, and when does the season start? Usually in Baker, because it varies so much out west, where there's some places that we see people skiing mid-October in some places. Some other it's longer.
No, I mean, I live in a temperate rainforest, so it's pretty warm, and we don't have snowmaking or anything. So it's just whenever it starts snowing. So I'd say usually like sometime in December. It's like winter starts, but then it's just like always changing too.
And
So
when it starts, it starts.
when it starts, yeah. And then until then, you just kind of hang out. There's not a whole lot. There's not really a whole lot to do when it's pouring rain every day and you're not riding.
You've had a busy fall up to now. You were on the level 1 film tour
Yeah.
celebrating Wasteland.
Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah.
congrats on your segment.
Yeah. Thank you very much, dude. Appreciate
It
that.
was so good to watch. I'm a I'm a sucker for segments with everything in it. And
Yeah.
I was rewatching your stuff before the episode and I was looking back at the After Dark segment and
Hmm.
just seeing a few street clips with a few super park clips with a few POW clips with a few big mountain clips. It's you can't beat that. I I don't know how you feel about it as a viewer on your end, but seeing variety in it, dude, I could watch it on replay.
Well, dude, I appreciate that. Yeah, it was like that was my goal with filming the segment. Is I was like, I'm gonna film an old school seg where I just film everything, like every kind of skiing, and then I actually fell short of my intention. I only filmed in AK and on street trips. So it's kind of funny. They're like, "Oh yeah, you like did everything in the second." I'm like, "Well, I actually wanted to do a lot more, but it didn't really allow for it." And now it's just like when you ride park, everything just kind of widens up on the internet anyways. Like you can't save anything because I'm just at these like big events where everything gets filmed and put online. And then I wanted to like ride more powder, but it like yeah, this year just didn't really. It was just was a gnarly, like just gnarly bad year for snow. I, like, didn't really, like, hit any jumps. I hardly rode any pallet Baker. So I kinda just only did, like, 2 street trips and a AK trip, and that's what it ended up being. So I was kinda hyped on just having that mix and, like, skiing street again, which I haven't done in I think the last proper street trip I went on was, like, Butte, Montana, 2013 or something like
Working
that.
with
So,
big
yeah,
picture.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
And now it's time for a first sponsor break. Dic Anns is a family owned fast food restaurant chain in the Montreal region with 14 locations now. 70 years after opening their first location on Montreal's Boulevard Pineuf, Dic Anns is still focused on what matters most, the same menu with great food made out of quality ingredients. I've said it, I'm a Dic Anns super fan, and many people ask me what's my go to. It's their famous Wally Burger, a double cheeseburger with slices of pepperoni on top. It's so good. Also, Dic Anns is now selling their famous sauce in their restaurants and in many Metro grocery stores throughout Quebec. Plus, they've put a bunch of great recipes to go along with it on their website at dicansauce.com. Also, big news, they've recently opened 2 new locations on the south shore of Montreal, one in Belleuil and one in Boucherville. Support companies who support skiing, support Dic Anns restaurants.
That's the thing I wanted to talk about with you. Being someone who grew up from Vermont, started as a park rat, we could say, branched out as a complete skier doing big mountain and all that, but who always had street shots in his segments. And then it felt like at a point you were so over street skiing. And
Yeah.
I rewatched that first episode of Big Picture where you're hitting like a kink trail to close out. That's kind of gnarly.
Yeah.
And you're just like ranting afterwards. Like, I don't remember the exact wording, but like you just look so off on street skiing. Like it's
Yeah,
the last thing you want to do.
I was like, "Fuck this, dude," because because I'm also like, we grew up like we just would ski everything all the time, and we're just like so hooked on skiing. And then when we weren't skiing at the hill, we just go find like a super shitty down rail or whatever, and like go hit street, and you just would ski anything just to ski. It wasn't like things weren't so segmented into like, oh, you're this skier, that skier. Like we just skied everything just because it was fun and it was there. And then yeah, and then I just started skiing POW, and it's kind of like that's it's a dangerous slope. It's like once you get that POW bug, man, it's like there can be no going back. And I just remember filming for that first year of the big picture. We were like, man, we like same mindset. We just want to film everything. We want to ski everything. And then I went on a street trip in Butte, Montana, and just was getting like so relentlessly played on all these rails. And I was like, I think I don't want to ski everything. I think I'm just actually super happy just riding POW and like not like breaking my ribs on metal and like falling down stairs. I was like, dude, fuck, like what are we doing out here? I was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was kind of the end of it. And then I will say though, this year I had so much fun on the street trips.
Well, tell me what sparked 2014 P White with the POW addiction to go and say, hey, 2024, I want to get back in the streets.
I think that was I went on a hood trip last year with Harold and Oski and Connor, and we just had like so much fun just hanging and riding hood. And they're like, "Dude, you should come on a street trip this year." And I was like, "Yeah, that actually." I was like, I'm kind of at the point too where I'm just trying to like, do something new and light the fire.
Mhm.
Just have fun again. And I was like, yeah, even if I was like, I would just come hang on a street trip, like just to come hang and just like be in Finland for a few weeks. And so I kind of just went over there with the intention of just being like, team captain, support crew, just hype up the crew and like just hang at the structure basically. And then when I got over there, I kind of just started hitting shit right away. And then when I was like, oh, we should actually film street. This is really fun. So
Nice.
yeah. But I think it just came from Harold was like, dude, you should come to Finland. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I just want to like go to Finland and hang out with Harold, whether I ski or not.
You got a long enough break to replenish the batteries.
Yeah. Now I'm kind of hyped on it. I was like, those are some of the most fun trips I had all year. Was like going and skiing street.
Well, to me, it seemed like there's a really a renewal of what street can be in the past 5+ years.
Yeah,
Like it seemed like people were really doing some gnarlier stuff and more tech stuff around the 2010s. Where maybe around 2015, it felt like a lot of people were like, okay, well, where are we going with this? Like I felt
yeah.
like some skiers that didn't were kind of searching where to go next. And then it seems to me that there's this new generation that are like putting some new energy into it and showing that there's new ways and new approaches and kind of a new life into street skiing.
Yeah, I agree. It's like I can like go on a street trip and it's like I don't have to like film the stepped segment and like get a surgery or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like I can actually like hang and just have fun and hit whatever.
And how rusty were you? Because every time when I think of street, I think that like if you're doing something in the streets, you better have done it a lot of times in the park so you're ready to not die. But then as someone who's filmed mostly POW in the past 10 years, like, were you like, okay, I might have to do a few days in the park before going on that trip?
I mean that's not even an option like where I live or anything. It's like there's no park. So and that I mean that's kind of how I roll though. I kind of more just like you don't stretch and you just show up and you just do whatever is in front of you. So that's yeah, I don't know. I guess I was rusty for sure, but we figured it out pretty quick and then we started like getting clips. But I was definitely shook. Like the first rail I hit, it's just like a closeout. I just slide it to switch.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't look like much, and I think realistically for most people it's not. But that was like my second day in Finland. It was like so fucking cold. And Dak's like, I'm gonna hit this. And I'm like, all right, like I'll hit it too. Which is funny because in street ski, like I didn't even know any of the etiquettes where usually it's people like are like everyone has their own features. They have their own
Yeah.
shots on their own features in the videos and like I don't know, whatever. I haven't skied street in like 10 years, but when I skied street, it was just like everyone just skis everything and you just figure out all the footage later. So like
Yeah.
Dak would be hitting these spots and I'd be like, I'm gonna hit this shit too. And he'd be like, yeah, you kind of gotta like pick your own spots, dude. Like you can't just like keep hitting all my rails. So I was like, oh yeah, sorry. Like I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm 30. But yeah, it's like definitely that first rail. I was like, and I came. The shot's not in the movie, but I came off right and like clipped that close out and got like I like landed on a stump on my ribs from like 15 feet up. We have like a whole list of everything that I did wrong. Like the first week in Finland, it's like Parker hits a car, Parker hits a stump, like, Parker like flies off the winch, gets bodied on a snow skate, like Parker hits a bush. I basically was just like crashing and running into everything for like the first week, and then I started to find my feet under me a little bit. But yeah, it was pretty funny.
I want to see a cut of that.
Yeah,
All the Parker fails.
all the oopsies. Yeah.
When you hit that first down flat closeout, which, as you said, it's not the gnarliest feature out there, but it's still a down flat closeout. There's consequences if you fuck it up. Did that for a second put a how do you say? Did that for a second put it a pause in your brain? Like, okay, am I really doing this season?
No, I think it was just I was like, well, this is like I was like, I fucking flew all the way to Finland to hit street. Like now we're hitting street.
Okay, I know
That's
going
what
back.
that's what you're there to do. Yeah.
Okay, because I filmed a project with Belmar a few years ago, and it was his first time also in the streets in a lot of years. And first spot we go to, he's trying a 4 on and he's eating shit. And I remember he was just like looking at me like, why am I here?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah. And when Belmare is good at street skiing too. Like he's a
Yeah.
super good street skier.
But I think he had too many World Cups where there were nice, perfect setups, you know?
Yeah.
And then going into the streets, he was like, yeah, I like the well polished World Cups in France better.
Yeah, groomed and rigged. Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
got that going for me. There's certainly nothing that I ride is well polished, I guess.
Yeah. First rail was the down flat closeout.
Yeah.
And then how was the rest of that first trip for you?
Dude, it was super fun. We kind of like it was like me, Dak, and Ani and Owen
Yeah.
for the whole first half of the trip, and then the second half of the trip we went to Tampere with Harold and Oski. Um, I felt like it was like the first half of the trip was like a little more productive, and then we kind of switched up zones, and it was still super fun, but I just kind of like skied less. But yeah, it was sick, man. It was super super fun. It was just like being in a foreign country, getting to hang out with everyone and figuring it all out. And Helsinki too is like there were I've like street skied only in places where you're like doing something bad. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like it's
Yeah.
kind of like you're always thinking about getting kicked out or whatever. And it's people in Helsinki would either be like completely impartial to it, like they wouldn't even look at you when they were walking by, or they'd be like, "This is sick, like I want to watch this on YouTube," and they'd like start filming, and they were
Yeah.
hyped. And the like city is it's like built for street skiing. There's like so many features, and it's a big city too. So yeah, it was super fun, man. It was rad, and there was a ton of snow as well.
And now it's time for another sponsor break. Axis Boardshop has been dedicated to free skiing since its inception in 2002. At a time when some people and brands were still looking down on free skiing, Axis believed in it fully. After 20 years of supporting athletes, movies, competitions, events, and so much more, Axis is still going strong. Above all, Axis is a ski shop where you'll find everything you need for skiing, snowboarding, or skateboarding. Check them out in store in Saint-Sauveur or online at axisboutique.com. Support companies who support skiing. Support Axis Board Shop. So you were lucky with snow at least out there?
Super lucky with snow, yeah. Because I was like, "Oh, this is easy. This is great." And they're like, "Yeah, it's not like always like this. Like you kind of came on like the best year in a long time."
As you were saying with the etiquette that has changed in the past 10 years with picking your own spots and some details like that, how did your spot approach change?
There's that's funny because street skiing's got a lot of fucking rules.
On one end, I guess so, but on the other end, it's like you make it what you want to make it. Well,
Yeah,
I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Go ahead.
yeah, you do, but it was just like I don't know. I just feel like again, well, I've said this a thousand times. It was just like when I did it, it was so long ago, but it was just like no rules. And then we were doing stuff that you would look back on today and be like, that was super kooky. Yeah. Like I remember one of the rules we had was like no landings. Like if you built a landing, like that was whack. Like that was like you were hitting a park jump. That's why and
Yeah.
then I would like winch into a gap and just do like a 40-foot front flip into a parking lot with no landing, just compress my spine. We're like, yeah, that was a really sick clip,
But
dude.
that's a part of what makes it legendary, though.
But then you look back and it's like, why the fuck would you hit that spot? Like that's not a spot, you
Well,
know?
I guess my take on landings is don't put it bigger than it needs to be.
Don't put it bigger than it needs to be, but then also don't make it so small that you're gonna get played just out of like self-preservation. Like that was what that's like when I went on a trip with Oliver and Mango to the East Coast later, I would shovel like a like a 1 foot runway as the landing of like a rail, and they're just like, dude, what are you doing? I was like, that's fine, it's the landing. They're like, that's not like a thing anymore. Like you have to put snow around. I was like, all right, whatever. So they actually helped me a lot. And then and Oliver especially, I'd be because I'm like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, what trick should I do on this? Like, what would be sick? And then he'd be like coaching me on tricks. Be like, he's like, you should do this. That'd be tight. I was like, all right, sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a super funny complex. But yeah, there was also stuff I was lining up, and they're like, that's not a thing. Don't do that. It's like, okay, thanks. Find something else.
Do you have examples from shots that were in the movie?
uh, I'm trying to think. Like the one I feel like any of the like really funny stuff we did like didn't make it because it was just like it would just be like not a thing.
Too kooky.
Yeah, too kooky. But then it like one that was kind of funny was like that fence spot we hit.
Yeah.
Like I did. It's kind of like right when the segment transitions and the guy's like, "Don't fucking play games with me," and it's like, dude, that spot was like so crusty. But I was actually kind of hyped on that shot, even though it's like kind of nothing. But to me, it was just kind of awesome because of the story of how all that unfolded. And dude, the snowbank just had like feces, needles, and just, like horrible, nasty spot. And we're like, this spot's sick because it's like horrible. You
Is
know?
it the same spot where the old dude is yelling at you?
Yeah. So that was actually kind of a funny story if we got time for it. But
Yeah, we got time. Was that in the States?
yeah, that was in Providence, Rhode Island.
Nice.
Because we I like flew back. We were gonna do a Boston trip, and then we landed in Boston. There was like not even a dusting of snow on the ground. And then so we're like, all right. So we went to Providence, and that spot we got there, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, like wall ride to drop. So we're setting it up, and that security guard comes out, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And we're like, "Dude, we flew all the way from across the country. We're like going skiing." He's like, "What are you actually doing?" He couldn't comprehend it. He's like, "What do you mean you're like skiing? Like that's
Yeah.
not a thing." He's like, "All right, whatever. Like you guys are cool. You just got to like pack up and get out of here." So I was like, "All right." So we dipped. We came back at like midnight and just finished setting up the spot. And we looked at the hours of the building that it was next to, and it was like 8 to, opened at like 8 o'clock. So I'm like, all right, if we get there at like 6, we might get a couple hits before the security shows up.
Mm-hmm.
So we showed up like first thing. I did like one hit, got it, and I was hiking back up. And that same security guard, it was next to a parking garage, and we just hear like a horn going from like the top of the parking lot, circling all the way to the bottom. He's just on his horn the whole time, and he gets out and he's so hot and so mad. And Oliver kind of told me this was gonna happen. He's like, dude, this dude's gonna be like super pissed. Just like let me do the talking. And
Was it the same guy?
it was the same guy, yeah. And he gets out and he's just cursing us out like so bad and and like full East Coast, like screaming, fucking pissed. And I'm just kind of like, okay, like dropping 3 or whatever, So I'm like hitting this wall. This dude's screaming at us, and Oliver's just being really polite. And he's just like, hey, with all due respect, like we're gonna keep hitting this, but you can just call the police and we'll just deal with the police. So I just hit it like one more time, and we get the shot, and then like to that guy, I'm like, hey, listen, I'm really sorry. Like we didn't mean to like upset you, and like we got the shot, so we're out of here. And he's like, that's it, you done? And we're like, yeah, we're gonna leave. And he's like, man, you guys are all right. That was pretty cool. He's like, you got some big fucking balls, dude. He's like, that was the ballsiest thing I ever seen. He's like, I'm calling the police. Tell them not to come. Like, yeah, you guys are cool. You guys are all right. And then we ended up like making homies with this guy and it being like super cool. And I was like, dude, and Mango's like never been on the East Coast. He's like, dude, what? Like, this is so weird. Like, yeah, that's how people are. Like, I was like, your East Coast friends like hate you, but they're your best friends.
Dude, I love your JoJo impression.
Yeah. That's that accent back there.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does it feel having beef in the streets when you're 33?
Yeah, I'm just kind of like, dude, what are we doing? Like, because I actually like don't want to make anyone mad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to bum anyone out. You never bumming people out when you're just like riding pal.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it was like it was all good, and we didn't have a lot of those interactions.
But does it ever happen with POW that you're like, you see a spot in Europe at a resort or in Japan or whatever, you see a spot that you're not supposed to go, and it gets back to that street vibe?
Never.
It's always like, if you want to go backcountry, do what you want.
I mean, the backcountry is just the wild, wild west. You just go back there and just do whatever you want. You're held accountable for that. The only reason that there's any there's any discrepancy with street is because like of liability. Like people don't want to get sued, but like you can't sue the backcountry, so it's like not a thing.
Yeah. I get what you mean. I guess what I had in mind was more like if you're at a big resort and you want to do something extreme, and then they're like, "Well, we
Yeah,
don't
I
want
feel
you
like
to
I
go
like
out there."
barely ride resorts or anything too.
Yeah.
I'd say the only thing is just the only thing, and it's not even really something, but if it's like if there's a lot of crews in a zone, I've had it where it's like somebody builds a jump, but then like a storm covers it, and then you like rebuild the same jump, and they're like, "That's our jump" or something. And you're like, no, no, no. It's like weird etiquettes there, but no, it's all pretty chill.
I don't think we haven't touched on it yet, but I'm curious. Did I hear that you were the ignator? How do you say? Were you the one that started that project of the level one comeback?
Yeah,
Tell
yeah,
me
pretty
about
much.
that.
Because well, we were like, this was like I guess it was like not this last spring, but the spring before, we were all together in Mammoth for Super Unknown. And at that point, level one was producing like 8 solo segments or something.
Hmm.
And like everyone had a individual project. And I was like, dude, this is ridiculous because one, you need like 8 different filmers. You need like 8 different release dates, and then each one of those 8 people has to film like a full length solo project, which is usually anywhere from like 7 to 15 minutes. Where I'm like, we're making so many solo projects that at this point it could just be a movie. You know what I mean? Like we just have enough. I was like, we should just make one, like just do it all with like 1 or 2 filmers, simplify everything, and just make a movie. And kind of everyone who was filming solo projects was all there. So I was like, what do you guys think? Like, should we just make a movie and you guys want to ride together? And everyone was super stoked on that idea because it's also like from the skier perspective. If you're part of a whole movie, it's like you film like 3 minutes, you just get to film a part.
Hmm.
I think everyone realized how hard it is to like actually film full solo part.
What do you think, as someone who's been in the game for so long, you've seen the full circle of filming with a big production company. Then around 2014, everyone went on like, "Hey, I'm going to use my sponsor money and do my own project." And you did the big picture. Then
Yeah,
you did the big picture for years. Then you went back with level one. Then you did the nothing trilogy, let's
yeah,
call it.
yeah,
Again, solo projects, and then fully going back to, yeah, doing a movie with a crew is kind of nice.
yeah. It's funny how quickly like that the landscape changes of just like, oh, we're tired of that. We should do the other thing. We're
Yeah.
tired of that. We should do the other thing. And then you just keep like going back and forth. But but yeah, I'm a big fan of just like the actual full length movie and just riding with a crew.
Yeah.
Like that's the most fun thing to me and the thing that I like to watch the most.
Because even then, to film something, you always need to be a crew. Like even when you were doing the big picture, it was a smaller crew, but you weren't alone anytime. You were always
Yeah.
with Chris Logan and with Sean Logan and with other skiers, depending on the trips.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I guess it is just like size of crew. And there was a lot of people who filmed for Wasteland who like I didn't ride with at all this year.
Yeah.
We're just on their own trips and everything. But
Was there ever talks of having a park shoot? Because I saw the movie, I was stoked, but at the end I was like, oh, I wish I had a like. To me, a level one movie has a park shoot in it. There's no,
yeah,
or was
yeah,
it
no,
part of
yeah.
the plan of saying like no park shoots?
No, I don't. I think originally we were like gonna try and get everybody together some kind of for that reason because it's like just to get everybody who was in the movie together.
Hmm.
Like because a lot of us like went on trips together. We got to hang with a couple people here, a couple people there, whatever. But to have everybody in the same place at the same time, we never really had, which would have been cool. So I think there was kind of a plan for that, but I don't really know. I don't really know what happened. Also, it's like I said, like we have the like we all went to level one, or a lot of us went to level one super unknown in Mammoth this year, which was like so much fun. But everything always just kind of gets dropped online before you can even like ever save it or anything.
Hmm.
Like if there had been a level one super unknown segment in the movie, everyone would have already have just like seen all the clips on Instagram and shit.
Yeah. At some point, if there was a brand new trick, it would be a secret until the fall when the DVD comes out.
Yeah,
Then
exactly.
at some point, it was more like, oh, it will be a Red Bull video on YouTube where they say like first whatever. And
Yeah.
now it's like, oh, here's the clip on Instagram.
Yeah, you're like, see ya.
talking about the progression, you're someone who never took himself too seriously, or at least that's what uh, we got from the videos of you. And I was wondering, I was curious to talk to you about that because I was going back and there's that famous video of you in the After Dark year trolling about triples.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, whatever it's gonna take. If it's a triple, if it's a quad, I'll do it. And then it's a triple Cossack.
Cossack, yeah.
But the thing is, it's not as if you were behind that trend. Like in that same movie, you have a switch dub 10, dub Japan, perfect. Like if you wanted to do it, you would have done a switch triple, like I'm sure. So
Yeah,
what made you go into the trolling side more than like, oh yeah, I'm at Sun Valley, I'll do the switch triple?
well, I'd say the trolling side is definitely easier.
But dude, I was looking back at your switch dub 10, dub Japan. I was like, okay, well, fuck. If you wanted to huck it, he could have.
Yeah, easy to say that now too.
Right.
You know what I mean?
We're doing Monday morning quarterback 10 years later.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, no, we just made that video just because it was like stupid and funny. But I have always like, I take skiing super seriously, like for real, like because I've like devoted my whole life to it. I got no plan B. Like this is literally everything that I know and everything that I have, and why I've been given everything that I have in life. And it's my whole community. So like I take skiing super, super seriously. I just don't take myself seriously. And that's a big distinction. It's like, yeah, I don't think that anyone should take themselves seriously. I don't care who you are, like you're not special. And the thing is like, yeah, it's like I'm good at skiing. It's like that's awesome. You're not like a brain surgeon or something. It's like, yeah, you go skiing with your friends on trips.
Yeah.
That's great. You're not like, God's gift to the world or anything. So I've just never really taken myself very seriously, but I like to take skiing very seriously because I was like, I feel like I have to.
Mm-hmm.
And I have all of these people who have like trusted in me and like invested in me and are counting on me and stuff. And it's like I feel like it would be disrespectful to not take full advantage of that and to not like do something in return. It's all I know too. So it's like how could I not go all in on it?
Yeah. Well, what flashed to me rewatching your stuff and rewatching that trolling video is that it really screamed to me that like you're a true free skier at heart. Where I was looking back at your stuff and there's so many shots that are timeless that I still watch and enjoy and that have aged well, because it's not about hawking the most recent crazy trick. When I think about stylish skier, I don't necessarily think about you. Not that you're
Thanks, man.
no. Let me rephrase. It's not. It's like you think of Henrik or you think of B Dog or there's skiers that come to mind directly. And I was watching your stuff and I was like, "Fuck, P White is stylish."
Word. Thank you, man. I
Like,
appreciate that.
the few like you're not a stepped guy who had like 20 street segments, but every shots that I saw, it wasn't the biggest trick, but it was always like, that was smooth or that was stylish. And I think that's probably why you did that trolling stuff, is like your focus has been on style in a broad sense rather than like, hey, I'll huck a triple 14 and risk doing an ACL.
Yeah. I think that I mean that was we always like all the inspirations of stuff that I grew up watching and was like would be like Idea.
Yeah.
Like we just watched Idea religiously, like it just at like really formative times. So I feel like everything was kind of style focused, but maybe not in the traditional sense. Like when I skied with all my homies in Mammoth, like everyone would have like it wasn't like a crew where it's like everyone dresses the same, everyone looks the same, everyone skis the same, does the same tricks. It was like everyone was like wildly different from each other, but then everyone came together. So like, yeah, I guess in talking about like style or something, it's not like that it fits into one category or the other, but it was more just like how do you like show yourself in through whatever you're doing,
being kind of a not unique but also authentic.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, just trying to be authentic and not like try and like hop on a trend or something like that. Because anytime you watch shit that was like super on trend at the time, like it never ages. Like that's that's what does not age well at all.
I was looking back at your stuff and I was like, it was clear that you were doing your own thing. There was no like, oh, I'll try to do what B Dog is doing, or I'll, or
Yeah.
trying to copy any other skiers. Like, dude, you have a shot. I think it's an After Dark. You do a cork 7 blunt that I kind of forgotten about that shot. Cork 7 blunt on a hip, and you just kind of wrap your body at the end of the cork 7. I'm like, dude, that's like, it's not a dub 18, but dude, I could watch that all day.
Well, thank you, man.
And same thing, they had done like a up box in angle, landing in a redirect into a quarter pipe in Sun Valley.
Oh yeah.
You just
Yeah.
have like a no sniper tap to switch in the quarter pipe with a good heavy head kind of afterbang.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, that's what dreams are made of. That's
yeah. Well, yeah, thank you, man. But yeah, and I think that I didn't, I never did like contests or anything like that either. So I think that's maybe where that style of skiing that you're talking about was happening or coming from at the time, was like doing the gnarliest or biggest trick or something because it would like score well, where we were always just like kind of just messing around, just like filming segs.
Yeah.
So
were you
like,
more inspired by snowboarders than skiers? Because rewatching the old stuff, I had like a snowboarder vibe watching you.
No, not at all. I don't. No, it was always skiing, 100% skiing. I really enjoy snowboarding, but there was never like, oh yeah, it's gonna be like snowboard style or something like that.
But I know that for some people, like what they watched was a lot of snowboard segments.
No, I honestly probably watch more snowboarding now that I'm older, but when I was younger, it was like 110% skiing. Yeah, but now I just watch snowboard videos, especially just because like a lot of my friends are. I feel like I have like more snowboarder friends here than skiers. I just watch all their videos and stuff.
One thing that made me laugh and made me kind of question what I was seeing is in your street shots, you're kind of riding a lot of different pairs of skis. What's up with that?
Yeah, that's a slightly sensitive subject, but not really. I just broke my I broke 2 pairs of skis. Like I think it was like by the 3rd day of the Finland trip. So then I didn't have skis, and they tried to send me new ones, and I don't know if it was like customs or whatever, but they didn't show up until like 2 days after I left. So I was there for like 2 weeks or more with no skis. So then I ended up just like, and I didn't want to just like not film and twiddle my thumbs or whatever. So I just ended up skiing on like Dic and Harold skis because we all got the same size feet. So I just was like, yeah, you just got to make it work, right? And then there's there's a couple clips on 0-3Ps too. And that was just because I had, I like went on an East Coast street trip with Mango, but I had like fully like factory sharpened Rosignol skis, and they're not even really like park skis. They're more like all mountain skis,
Yeah.
but they're like just skinnier than what I usually ride. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just use this for like street, but I was hitting a couple like plastic and aluminum spots, and he had edgeless skis. So I was kind of hitting spots like you couldn't really hit with edges. So then it was, at the end of the segment, it was like, I just was like rode everybody else's skis, not really on purpose, but just be out of like necessity, basically. I just had like an hour call with Rosignol yesterday, and they were kind of like, what the fuck, man?
Really? They just figured it out?
Yeah, but yeah, they just saw my segment for the first time. He's like, dude, I'm calling you because I saw the segment. And I was like, hell yeah, what did you think? He's like, dude, it was good, but like, what the fuck? I was like, yeah, I didn't have any skis, So, but I think it's all good,
You earned a bit of patience after 20 years.
I hope so. Yeah, we'll see. I haven't got my contract this year, so that one's TBD. But I hope so. Yeah, I've been on Rosnell since I was 13. It's 20 years.
Dude, that's a long relationship.
Super long relationship. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. Shout out Rosignol.
Not many people in skiing have relationships that are that long. I think maybe Phil with Armada, but even then, probably not as long.
Yeah.
Maybe Godbout with Salomon.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah. But yeah, that was because, and I told them too, because I was just like, dude, like, I don't really want to be like, I'm not even a street skier. I don't want to like be hitting super scary stuff on other people's setups either. Like
Yeah.
I would much prefer to be on my own skis and my own Rosignals, you know. But instead, I'm just like, okay, Herald surfaces, like here we go. You know, it's just like drop. And yeah, it was kind of gnarly, but also it's like it kind of works. I don't really notice the skis being different as much hitting rails and whatever. Is like if I had to ride different PAL skis in Alaska, that would not have been good.
Different game.
That's a different game, yeah. Because where you really notice a way to the ski is like in a turn.
Mm.
You know, a lot of the street shit I hit was just kind of like straight in, straight out, hit something.
Well, to me, it's also landing a trick. A big part is like if you're used to a certain flex of a certain model of skis and you switch, you'll notice it. If you're used to a ski that's stiff versus one that's less stiff, and you land you might bend the other ski too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. But ended up it all like worked out right. But yeah, it just was kind of funny. And I didn't know if a lot of people were going to notice that because we like, you know, Shuey like went in level 1 and like blacked out the logos on the skis that weren't Rosignals and stuff.
Mm.
Like they did like aftermarket effects. Like you can see it on my Switch 270, my closer, like Switch 270. If you like really look at the skis, they kind of like jiggle around a little bit because they like did like, you know, whatever Hollywood after effects to black everything out.
But yeah, it made me laugh because I saw the teaser of the movie and I saw the 50-50 to drop in the stairs. And I thought that was Dic. And then I see your segment. I'm like, okay, what's going on? And then there's a couple of clips. I'm like, okay, well, P. White was on something. I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah. But no, I'm still very much so on Rossi and love Rossi and thank you, Rosignal. Rosignal makes great stuff.
Love you, Rossi.
Yeah.
One shot that I wanted to talk to you about relating to getting back in the streets and doing some stuff that is stylish and that is your own. I think it relates back to all the things we said without trying to do a 4 on Pretz 8, you know, and doing is your backcountry street line in Finland, I guess, to 180. Dude, I saw that and I was like, I want to see a whole segment of Parker doing that.
Well, yeah, that was like super Lori from 4A Crew inspired because he has like a full segment of that style trick, but like way better than what I did. Like he's actually sick, you know. But yeah, I thought the same thing. Like I'd never seen that, and it would be shots of Lori just like straight lining through trees in a park with like almost no snow, and I'd be like, yeah, same thing. That's not like a traditional trick, but I would watch those segments and I'm like, that's the most entertaining, like best segment in the movie kind of. I was like, never seen anything like that. Like that was so funny and so rad.
Yeah.
So definitely going over there, I was like, I want to hit some Lori spots for sure. And then that was like next to like the real spot. Like Dic had like a really sick shot from there. And I was like, I'm going to hit the weird, like, I'm going to jump over the fence and do the backcountry line. Everyone's like, yeah, that's not really a thing, but you can do that if you want.
Dude, and to me, that's one of the highlights of your segment where it's super original. It looks super gnarly. Like, it kind of bugs me when I see street videos and there's no trick involved. You know, you're going straight, whatever it is, a wall ride, a gap.
Yeah.
But when it just looks, I don't know how to phrase it. When it looks easy.
Yeah, if someone just like rides down a ledge with snow on it, and you're like, yeah, I don't. It's like, what are we doing here? Yeah,
yeah. But that didn't look like an easy line. Like it looks rowdy as fuck.
And that line too, like that was when my second pair of skis broke. So like you can even see in that clip, like I have like 2 different skis on. Because like the extra pair I brought was like it was like an older one or it was different or something. So I have like I have like my color on my bases. It's 2 different colors. But then when I drop in, you can see, dude, like my ski was broken. So I like squat out and the whole tail is like completely snapped. But I was like, I think it can still ride. But that was like when I kind of finally broke my last pair of skis.
Okay. So
I didn't have skis anymore.
Were you looking for a spot like that, or you were just chilling and looked at it and were like, oh shit, let's do that?
I was kind of looking for a spot like that because I just was kind of biting Laurie. I just saw Laurie's seg and I was like, I want to do some stuff like that because that looked so rad.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
You get inspired by people and you shout them out when you have a chance.
Also, like, dude, I'm not just saying this to be like funny or whatever. Like, I'm actually really bad at hitting rails. Like, I don't have like awesome balance and stuff. So like, I did like that one down flat down rail I hit, and Owen Dahlberg follow cams it. It's at night,
Yeah.
dude. That took me like 70 tries, and it was like, and I was just doing like a lip slide to straight, but I just had to like balance on the rail for so long, and I'm like, dude, I'm like a 33-year-old who like drinks too much beer and stuff. I can't just be like balancing on a rail forever. So I was also just looking for spots where I'm like, how can I like get a street clip but like not really hit a rail?
Yeah. You got to play to your strengths. There's some people that are good at kings, other that are super bad. Like everyone has, and also that might be where the 10 years of not doing too much street or not at all came
Oh
back
yeah,
to
for
haunt you.
sure. Yeah, I have no balance. Yeah, and that same down flat down rail in the movement video, Hugo Burval does nose butter 450 on that same rail. And we didn't put it in either, but after that down flat down rail, I got the craziest celebration. I was just freaking out, like so hyped. And Oski and Harold come running down. They're like, "Yeah," and I'm like vibing them out because I was like so happy that I did a straight slide.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, dude, that whole segment is so good. Dude, I think the whole movie is a big success. Like
Yeah, I
Harold
appreciate.
and Oski's segment, I've watched on repeat. Jonah Williams with the big hip hop, what is it, future song that drops fucking
Yeah.
heavy.
How about that Jonah seg, huh, dude? I was talking about that with beers with my team manager the other day too, like when he was calling me to drop me for being on different skis. But because Jonah had a podcast with you as well. That's
Yeah.
actually I listened to that podcast that you guys did together. But yeah, Jonah has like come into come into focus maybe a little bit more like later. And that guy is such an assassin, man. Like one of the only other people I've skied with that are like that is Duncan Adams, where it's like you go out and they're so focused and so dialed and so good. Like Jonah is so good at skiing. And if you break down that segment, it's like, in my opinion, Jonah's footage was like twice as good as anybody else's in the movie. And that's not a dog on anybody else, myself included, but that's just a testament to how good Jonah's footage was. But also, he has a 6.5 minute seg in a 26.5 minute movie. So 25% of that movie is just Jonah.
Yeah.
Like Jonah filmed a full solo part last year, and they just put it in the movie. And that's the closing seg.
But to me, it's the whole, sometimes you strike lightning. It's, to me, the song gets me. It's like a super good song for a Segi. The filming, trick choice, everything. That's a segment that
Yeah,
will be remembered, even though that's corny to say.
yeah, and I don't even think we were recording, but we are talking about IF3 and stuff before,
Yeah.
and he didn't even get nominated for anything.
Right.
What the fuck?
I don't know, man.
Some bullshit.
Yeah.
But yeah, invest all stock in Jonah, man. That guy is ridiculously sick. And I really like I thought the movie came out super well too, and I thought Owen did a good job. I really like the Dak segment.
Yeah,
The
me
Dak
too.
seg, that was kind of a standout seg because Dak broke his ribs in Finland, and like the last I saw Dak, he didn't have that many clips from the trip we were on because he broke his ribs kind of early, and then I just left it. He like had flown back home with broken ribs, and I didn't know what happened.
Mm.
And then I just went and hung out and worked on my seg in Salt Lake, and I saw his part, and I was like, dude, this is like a super
Yeah.
good part. Same thing, good track, and he like did one more street trip on the East Coast and really put on. But I was just really pleasantly surprised by that because I was like, the last time I saw you, you had snapped ribs. I was like, I didn't know that you skied anymore or anything. I thought he put on I like really like that segment. And
Yeah.
Mango, obviously, yeah, I thought everyone did like a super good job. And Ani and Taylor too.
Yeah.
Same thing. I didn't know. I got a couple clips with Ani when we were in Finland. I love Ani, by the way. She's just like, she's the best.
Dude, she is probably my favorite female skier to watch in the world. Like,
Yeah.
so smooth.
Yeah, she is just the absolute dopest person too. But yeah, I just hadn't really seen any of her and Taylor's footage, and I didn't get to ski with Taylor all year, which I would have really liked to have. It's the same thing. I saw that seg, and I was like, hell yeah. And yeah, and the darkness and Lucas, AK footage, super good. Yeah, man, it came together for sure.
You mentioned that you went to Finland, that
Mhm.
you went to Rhode Island,
Yeah.
but I saw that you also have a couple shots in Quebec.
Yeah, so that was the Rhode Island trip. Was like Rhode Island just ran out of snow,
Yeah.
and then we just drove north to Shawinigan
Yeah.
to B-Dog's home.
Yeah. Did you hang out with Phil?
Yeah, we went and played Mario Kart with him one night,
Nice.
but we didn't like hit any of the same spots. He and Spencer were filming for the Armada video, I think, so they were just kind of hanging, doing their own thing. But we went over and chilled and drank some beer and played Mario Kart at his house one night, which was cool.
Dude, that's the way. Yeah, I love that shot from the rooftop. Switch on to out. Super
Oh yeah,
creative with the roof to roof rail.
yeah. That spot, I mean, that spot's like been hit too, but that's one of the spots that was like way gnarlier in person.
Yeah. Well, that area, but I've never seen that specific way you hit it. No.
I think Meeks has a shot in that in like I forget, maybe an own 3P video. I think
Okay.
Meeks hit it like straight to switch or something.
Okay.
But yeah, but that spot is that it's just tall. It's like
Yeah.
a big. I mean, nothing ever looks as big on film, but that
Mhm.
one was pretty, for me, anyways, was kind of gnarly. For other people, it'd probably be chill, but
That's something you have to live with. Every shot. I don't know if it's the same for the backcountry. Probably that in the streets everything looks twice as small as it actually is.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, seeing street spots in person, you're just like, whoa. But yeah, that that was a good edgeless spot. That was a place I definitely was not trying to catch an edge.
Well, talking about catching an edge, is that because there's a roof shot where you do a 180 on and actually catch an edge
Yeah.
and do a backflip to your neck/back?
Yeah, I was going for backflip on that backflip out, dude. That would have been sick. No, that was because there was just like a little I think that was like aluminum, but I was hitting it on my like Rosigal race skis. And then there was like this lamp that we unhooked, and I think there was like a little screw left over or something from that caught me.
Fuck.
Yeah.
But you were all right.
Oh, I'm always all right, man.
Okay.
I'm a
Yeah,
tank.
because that was a good bail shot where
Yeah.
we see you getting back up. We're like, okay, is he okay? Is he not okay?
Yeah. No, I was completely fine. Yeah. I'm always fine. You never got to worry about me. For real. I'm good. I've never been injured, dude.
Really?
Yeah, knock on wood. No, I've never had an injury.
That's something that I was looking at. Like when I go back to in the past, if people I'm doing an episode, I always go year by year just to like make sure I don't miss anything. And a lot of times for people, there's a gap in a year, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's when they blew their knee, let's say. And I
Yeah.
went back to everything, and I was like, okay, fuck. Parker has stuff in every year. Did he ever get injured?
Never. I got my bumps and bruises and stuff, but I never actually had like an actual injury.
Dude, that's do you realize how lucky you are?
Dude, you know what though? Because it's not even luck. It's just that I'm super strong. I'm the strongest guy. Yeah.
Meanwhile, there's people like going to the gym and not drinking and being vegan and doing everything, and they blow their knee, and you're just like, yeah.
But yeah, if you blow your knee and you're vegan, that's your own fault. You cannot be vegan, dude. You gotta get that protein up.
But man, the level 1 years followed up by the big picture years, with in between also 2 X Games real ski medals, followed by level 1 movies, followed by the Nothing movies, followed by Wasteland.
It's a lot of stuff.
Dude.
There's since I was 19, I filmed full segments every single year with the exception of 1 year since I was 19. And I think it was
Last year?
Last year I filmed Wasteland, but the year before that.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
The year before that, I just didn't film, honestly, because I just was like just super burnt out and just kind of questioning my whole life.
Okay.
I kind of had done so much up to that point. I'd kind of just told that to my sponsors, and to their credit, like to Rozzie's credit and 686 and everyone, they're kind of like, yeah, dude, like you kind of earned it, and just do you. And I went into that year and I didn't even know if I would ski. Like if I didn't have the obligation of skiing, I was like, I might just pow surf every day and like not even put
Yeah.
on ski boots.
Well, that's what it seemed in the years prior in the Nothing trilogy, where there was probably as much pow surf / snowboard than skiing, or maybe more.
Yeah, and that was kind of, and I think especially towards the end of, well, kind of the beginning of Nothing too, but those years, if I'm being honest, man, it's like I don't want to sound ungrateful or spoiled or entitled or anything, but it's like when you film segments and when you like, I think that I was definitely treating skiing as a job,
Hmm.
which is just on me, and it's the best job in the world, and I'm very grateful for it. But it changed my relationship with skiing a bit, like having the obligation of like you have to do it and you have to put something out. And then I think I started just questioning my own intention of like, okay, like am I doing this because I want to do it and because I love doing it and it's
Hmm.
because who I am as a person, or is it because I have to do it and everyone's expecting me to do it? So I kind of like, I took 1 year to just like not film, and I'm like, maybe like I won't even ski, like maybe I'm just a pow surfer and I should just like quit skiing and give up my spot to someone else, you know? And then that year I skied more than any other year I'd probably skied in like 10 years. I just got so inspired on it and was so hyped. And it just was a good reminder for me. I was like, okay, I fucking do love this, and this is who I am, and this is what I love most in life.
Kind of lit back the flame from not having pressure for a year.
Yeah, I just went to Baker and just rode Baker every single day. Like every single day that I could. And I was like, man, I was like, yeah, I love this so much, which I always knew, but for whatever reason, sometimes it becomes not obvious, and you just got to take a step back to realize that. But yeah, and then after that, I was like, we should make a video, make a Level One movie. We're doing it.
Do you think there was a part from the whole COVID vibe that affected you?
No, not at all. I felt, with the exception of dating a Canadian through that, I felt totally unaffected by COVID.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good for you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there was a lot of just bullshit in my own personal life of like being in like a cross country relationship and how difficult that the government made that. But other than that, it was kind of the same
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. It
Yeah.
didn't affect my skiing at all. Like I still was as inspired and stuff on skiing as ever. But
Yeah. You know, when you talk about riding Baker for a whole year and just having fun, I kind of wish there was a project of you with someone like Hot Laps, just someone riding Sue or Sean Logan, but like I think of those GoPro follows, but in a
yeah,
PAL version, backcountry version, just you sending it, doing super fast laps in Baker.
yeah, that's what I just kind of like to do at Baker, is just ride Baker as fast as I can. That's what makes Baker really fun to me.
I want someone riding in your heels with a GoPro stick, and I want to see that content.
Yeah. Yeah, well, maybe we'll try and get you a clip this year, Xavier. We'll see if we can send something over.
I can sleep on your couch. Give me a GoPro. I'll follow
Okay.
you.
All right. Well, hey, man, if you can keep up, I got a free spot on the couch for it. If you can keep up.
Oh, dude, that's a challenge I'm willing to take.
All right. Well, I'll let you know, bro.
And then another thing I wanted to touch on. It's really random, but there's a lot of variations in the pro skiers. There's some people that watch everything that comes out, and there's some other ones that just are kind of out of the loop. They do their thing and they don't necessarily watch everything. What is it like for you? Are you like on new schoolers watching the new stuff? Do you follow some stuff?
Not really. If I'm being honest, I watch stuff that my friends are in,
Yeah.
or people that I know are in. If I was like hanging with someone in the spring, I'll watch their stuff. But I'm not like hounding down movies and watching them. The one time I was doing that was when me and Friedel and Connor would all do we would do like a podcast of just like recapping like what we would like rank what we thought the best movies of the year were.
Yeah.
And I would watch literally every movie made as like a homework assignment almost.
Yeah.
So that was when I would like watch every single thing. But now I honestly, dude, it's like the only sport I even follow or watch is like UFC. I love UFC. I just watch.
Really?
Yeah, it's my favorite sport.
Why?
Um, I think it is like the most talented and skilled athletes in the world competing on the biggest platform at the most raw level. And
And
when
it
you start to really nerd out on it, you realize that it's not just like two like muscleheads brawling. You realize how much skill there is, how stylistically different fighters are from each other, how those fights pair up. And it's, to me, it's the most interesting, coolest, most exciting sport to watch ever.
yeah.
And I love all the different characters too. I love UFC. I just watch UFC. I don't watch any skiing, any skating. I just watch UFC.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel
I
like you're
love
trolling me.
I'm not at all. Like in the last like 2 years, I've just gotten super into UFC. That's my
Okay,
favorite.
so it's not, you haven't been watching it for like 15. It's a new thing.
No, it's a new thing. But it's like in the last 2 years, I don't even know how I discovered it, but now I like illegally stream all the pay-per-view fights, and I'm so in on it. And it's funny too because I like never really watched football or hockey or anything, and I'm like, oh, this is like what being a sports fan is. Like I finally got my sport. I'm a fan. It's
Let's
cool.
go.
It's exciting. But yeah, dude, have you ever seen a UFC fight?
Yeah, but I've never been too much into it. I've had friends who were really into it.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember like, those pay-per-views are always super late. I don't know why.
Mhm.
Like the main fight is like at 1 a.m. I remember
Depending where you are, yeah.
being with friends, waiting to watch it, and then I just fell asleep and didn't even see it because like it's like
Yeah.
I'm a hockey fan. The game starts at 7. It's not at 1 a.m. Like, what is that?
Yeah. And it's always like, I feel like if you're on West Coast time, it usually helps. Like they always do stuff so I feel like it like airs at the right time in like Vegas or something.
Right.
But then the other thing that's cool about it too is how international it is. Because you have like Dagestani fighters, you have Brazilian fighters, you got US fighters, you got Chinese fighters, you have African fighters. And then it's like a lot of different countries will have their own styles. Like the Brazilians are typically gnarly kickboxers. The Dagestanis are all like insane grapplers. And then it's like, yeah, it's like these worldly battles. I love it, man.
Dude, I'll be there for your UFC career after skiing.
Yeah, that ain't for me, dude. I would never dare, but I just like it as a fan.
Say, just for the fun of it, if I require you to watch something skiing wise, and you have the choice, it's either something kind of free ride world tour or slopestyle World Cup ish or a street segment.
Oh, street segment for sure.
For sure.
I like tuning into. I like watching the Olympics.
Okay.
And
Skiing wise or in general, you mean?
No, just skiing wise.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't really watch any of the Olympics other than Australian female break dancers and skiing.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
But no, I actually enjoy watching like I think X Games is exciting.
Yeah.
I usually watch X Games, and I like to watch. I'll watch the Olympics because a lot of times I have like friends who are in the Olympics, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And it's cool. It's just like the biggest world stage. But no, in general, it's like I'm not. Like I wouldn't just be sitting in my house like I'm gonna pull up 2014 Sochi slopestyle runs and watch. I watch that like when it's the event and we're in it,
Yeah.
But I'm not. I don't rewatch that. Yeah, if I like ever were to rewatch skiing, I just would rewatch. Yeah, like or the videos that I watch most are like actually street videos. There's not a lot of POW videos in general. I think there's a lot more street skiing out there right now than POW.
But it's cool that as someone who's done more POW than streets, definitely in his career, that you're hyped on street as much.
Yeah, I mostly just watch street skiing, really, which is, I don't know, it's just kind of funny, but I think it's always the most entertaining, and maybe it's because I'm removed from it that I like it.
Yeah, well, so much. I agree, but on my end, sometimes I think, oh, I'm just biased because that's what I do, and that's that's what I filmed, that's what I grew up doing, so that's what I like. But there's something that, you know,
Yeah, maybe I'm just like more critical of POW too, or I'm just like way more judgmental of watching everybody's stuff.
mhm.
Or skiing or street skiing. I'm like, you could just show me anything. I'm like, that was great, man. I can't even imagine that, you know?
A bit like that
Yeah.
Rhode Island guy, like, yeah, you guys
Yeah,
rock.
yeah, 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 exactly. Our new Rhode Island friend. But yeah, I think, and I always feel like you get more, you just get more like hijinks, and you get a better idea of like who your crew is and what they're like in a street video way more than like, a POW video. Like POW video is always like, oh yeah, look at this amazing run I did or something. Where a street video, I like to just feel like you were there on the trip, like just having fun and
Mhm.
just fucking off and being hooligans and whatever.
Yeah, seems like there's less B-roll in big mountain, POW skiing, backcountry, whatever.
Yeah.
Like in street, you'll see I don't know, maybe there's less stuff going on, but it feels like in
Way
a
less
street
stuff.
part, you have a lot of B-roll from the guy screaming at you to a bail to a lifestyle around. Whereas your AK shots, it's the POV and it's the line and it's fucking sending it.
Well, yeah, because it's like, on street trips, like you're in a city, and cities are exciting, and there's so many different types of people around you and so much going on, where it's
Yeah.
like you always are capturing all of that. And it's like, yeah, I mean, riding POW, all of the extracurricular is like super boring.
What was the AK life in your trip this year?
So the AK life, so the AK trip, first off, this was our fourth attempt at going to Alaska, and we'd been skunked every other time.
Fourth
So
time in the year?
no, fourth time like in life.
Okay, for
And the
yourself.
so it was like we were supposed to go for COVID, it got canceled. I forget what the series was of when we went, but we went for 2 trips, and it's a short window, which is dangerous in AK because everything has to line up so magically to be able to ski, because it's such big faces. It's like there's no trees, so you need sunshine, you need cold weather, you need everything to not get all the snow not get messed up by the wind, and you need stable avalanche conditions. And it's like for all of those things to line up, that's a lot. you know it's not just like going to Detroit or something and like, oh, there's snow. So we went 2 years. We were scheduled to go for 3 years, but 2 of the years we just sat in hotel rooms and just drank for a week straight. We didn't even get in the helicopter. We didn't take a single run, and then we flew home. We just did a week long hotel room Alaska drinking trip,
Fuck.
and then went home.
When you come back from that, how depressed are you?
It's so disheartening. Like, after getting skunked that many times, I was like, I'm never going back to Alaska. I was like, legit, I'm never going back. And then they called us like really last minute this year, and the forecast looked good, and it was like an all expense paid trip. Like Rosignol had cut this deal and paid for that trip. So I'm like, dude, it actually, like, the forecast looks like it might be all right. I'm like, yeah, it's like, how can you not go? How can you not gamble it? So we went, and we got like 5 days in the heli, perfect avalanche conditions, perfect bluebird, perfect snow. It was completely life changing, man. I went from being like, I will never go back to Alaska, like it's way too fickle, to like wanting to base the rest of my life and ski career around like going to Alaska. It's the coolest, gnarliest place I've ever been in my life. And I thought that I would be ready for it. Like, I've skied enough, backcountry and what to me were big mountain lines in BC and stuff. But that scale it's wildly different. Like, I felt like I was in a completely different arena and planet. And even when it's like a really straightforward line where it's not even that featured, but it'd be like a multi-1,000-foot, sustained vert face.
Mhm.
And just riding that is so scary and so gripping and so rewarding on a completely different level. And when I was a kid, I would always, and I think this is common for a lot of people, it's like I would always skip the Alaska segment. I was like, this shit's boring. Like, I want to see Dave Crichton.
Yeah.
Like, do like a flat 5 in the pipe and grab critical, like, or hit a
Yeah.
rail. That was what was cool. And now, having been up there, I feel like I've gained the perspective of what it means to be on those lines and now I totally am just like nerded out on watching like Haynes segments and spine footage, and yeah, it's the coolest place in the world. And I'd never felt that many emotions in the same day of just being like, I'm so scared, I'm so puckered, I'm so elated, I'm so
What's puckered?
puckered's like nervous.
Okay.
It's like when you pucker. But yeah, it's incredible, man. And we had and that's like I really love those shots in my segment too, because those are by no means, my whole segment is like it's not the best street footage that's ever been filmed by any means. It's not the gnarliest lines that have ever gone down in AK, but those were two really new feeling things for me again to film. I'd never had skied an AK up to this point. This is my first AK trip I've ever done. And I hadn't skied in the streets in so long that everything for me, it kind of felt like a brand new segment again. So that was kind of what I was so excited about with it. Even though it's like, yeah, if I'm being honest, I think my Alaska footage is kind of mediocre compared to other people's. And I think my street footage is kind of mediocre. But for me, it all felt like a big accomplishment, and I think it works in the seg.
I'd say it's far from mediocre, really far from mediocre, but I'd agree with you that it's not the best shit ever. But then again, it's not a comp.
Yeah.
Like that's why I think films are so cool. It's unique, it's P White, it couldn't be anyone else, and it's super enjoyable where I could watch it 10 times in a row and be stoked. So that's all you need.
Yeah, Myrtle, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm stoked, and I'm stoked to see like how it's received and everything too, because we're gonna drop it this week.
Nice.
Online. And it's like you gotta, I went to all the premieres, but it's kind of tough to get a beat on everybody at the premieres. That's a pretty different environment,
Everyone is either too drunk or just way too hyped.
Yeah, exactly. And we always joke, it's like you could make like two different movies. Like you could make one to show at premieres. They're like just to stoke everyone out, and then you could make one that's really good to watch on a computer, because those are usually like two completely different movies.
Yeah, because people don't remember.
Yeah, and just like what hits at a premiere and what hits not at a premiere can be two totally different things.
Right.
Where it's like everyone will like go crazy for a certain trick at the premiere, and I'm like, that trick really? Like, what was I missed that one or something.
What was the standout from your part at premieres that you noticed?
I don't know. Honestly, I drink so much of the premieres. I don't know if I can really speak to
that. Well, from the last few years, what I always noticed were like the bails. It seems like bails get more attention than anything else.
Yeah, bails are always a big crowd pleaser.
Yeah.
For me, over the years, it always was like gnarly crashes and like big front flips. Everyone just like loves the front flip.
Well, you're the king of front flips.
Definitely, dude. Thanks. I'm gonna claim that.
After this fall, what are your plans for the coming season? Are we doing Wasteland Part 2?
I don't think so. I think 686 has been talking about doing a ski video. So that's still kind of in its very infant forms of conversation, but potentially 686 video with me, Dic, Mango, one other rider who I don't think I can mention yet. I don't know if it's quite
just do it.
Sealed up. I think I'm gonna let that sit, and then potentially filmed and edited by Oliver Hobwitzel.
Nice.
So that I think we might like go on one trip for that this year, just to like make a little taster, and then maybe we would film for it for the following year. And then other than that, dude, this is my dream. And I talked to Rainier, and they seem like pretty down with potentially making it happen. But I really want to do an in-person Fast Fridays contest. So it basically would be like find the gnarliest run at whatever ski mountain, start gate, finish gate, no gates in between, fastest time wins.
Wow.
So I told that to Rainier, and they're like, we're 1000% in, like, let's do it. So we got to figure out the venue and where we can do it and everything.
What's your vision? Would it be like a line that's, let's say, a 30-second line, or something like a Whistler top to bottom?
No, it'd be like a 30-second line. The thing that I dislike about like Chinese downhills and like you have to ski the whole mountain is at some point you always wind up on some flat groomer.
Yeah.
And then it's like it doesn't matter how well you ski the technical section. It's like whoever's the heaviest and has the longest, best tuned skis wins.
Right.
Like 'cause you just make up all your time on the flat. So I'm like, I just want to only do the gnarly section of just gnarly, craggy, chopped up moguls and shit where it's just a just whatever 30-second rodeo run of the steepest, craggiest run. And then it's just individual fastest time wins. And
Do it.
you win like a used dirt bike off Facebook Marketplace or something. So
I love the idea. And in our era of content and social media, dude, that's like the best. You'll have like 100 different posts of just people
well,
sending it.
and like speaking of social media and stuff, just to actually do something in person to bring people together in real life.
Yeah.
It's like let's have a party. Let's actually all get together and do this and not just have it be a video or something. Like come out.
Yeah.
Come see it, you know?
Yeah.
So anyways, that's kind of my big plan for the year and we'll see if it happens or not. And then other than that, yeah, like just maybe go on one film trip. I want to go back to Alaska, but I got to figure out the logistics of what that looks like. So
Then it goes back to the whole serious part of like, what is it part of? What is it for? What is it going to be?
yeah, for sure. So it's hard to tell. In the meantime, I'm kind of just like remodeling this trailer and trying to get a renter in there. That's my big goal for right now.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, everything else will fall into place.
To end off the episode, I got some questions from people on Patreon. So let's go ahead. We got Will Cameron who asks, what's your favorite movie and segment?
I think I've been asked this one. I think my favorite full movie is I gotta just go with Idea, like by Nimbus. Because that one was the one that we watched the most at probably like the most I don't know what to say, like the most influential time of my life. We just watched Idea on repeat, and I think that's my favorite ski movie ever made. And I think my favorite segment, like if I were to really just do the greatest segment, I think it's Pep Fujas session 1242.
And that's
But
like influential time also for you?
yeah, and it's like, man, they just like they use the Matrix soundtrack song. I don't know, the whole thing is like so epic and so awesome. But yeah, I think that's favorite movie and segment. And also, I gotta throw out Wicked, just because those were all the guys from like the mountain I kind of grew up skiing, and that was just such a rad time, rad movie for its time. So yeah, I'd say like Wicked, Idea, and that session 1242 Pep Seg.
Nice. And Will Cameron has another one. I don't know if it'll be your vibe, but he asks, what's your top 3 metal albums?
Top 3 metal albums. Oh man.
Are you a metal guy?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of top 4 albums though. Maybe like top 3 albums. Probably like Black Sabbath, Volume 4, and maybe like Metallica's first album.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Laurent Olivier Martin asks, anywhere that you haven't skied yet and that you would like to try, and why?
I wanna go to Haines. I want to go to Haines, Alaska because I went to Valdez last year and it was so sick, and I just want to ski more of Alaska. And the Haines looks cool because it looks like almost shorter runs, but potentially more featured than what we were riding. We rode some cool features, but it was a lot of really big open faces and long runs, like just gnarly vertical. And I would like to get into some of the like shorter, more featured, spiny, pillowy, like alpine Alaska terrain. So yeah, that's kind of my last place I really want to ride is Haines for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Ryan Bruninghouse asks, best and worst people to travel with?
I'd say like Darkness and Sean Logan, we've probably traveled the most together, and we all just like get along and work super well together. And those are like my brothers, so I'd say probably them. And worst, you know what? I'd say maybe from back in the day, Eric Sayo. Eric Seo as the photographer, and I love Seo, but he was not a great traveler. It's like things would become problems really quick, and all the gear and everything. So yeah, maybe like Seo and then Darkness and Sean for the best.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then another one from Will Cameron, who asks, rank your 3 favorite filmers to work with.
Probably Friedel Cody is my number 1. And then, yeah, Kyle Decker. I haven't filmed with Kyle Decker in so long. I love filming with Kyle Decker so much. And then, yeah, maybe Oliver Hoblitzel. We had a fucking super fun street trip, and he's like, that homie's dialed. He was funny too. I like wouldn't know what I was doing, so I'd be like, "Yo, what trick do I do on this?" And he'd be like, telling me which tricks to do and coaching me and shit, which was hilarious. Yeah, maybe like Friedel, Kyle Decker, and Oliver, and obviously Sean Logan as well. Same thing. I haven't filmed with Sean in a while, but yeah, obviously Sean. Sean is like just the most dialed.
Nice.
Yeah.
Holden Baldassi asks, how did he get sponsored by Rainier Beer, and is he still on the team?
Oh yeah, I'm still on the team, dude, for sure. That was just kind of that was just some Pacific Northwest stuff. That was like the TM was a friend of one of my other TMs, and we met, and they gave me some free beer for a little while, and then we just kind of hit it off, and they were down to just sponsor on like a more proper level, and yeah, shout out to Sean McKillop and Rainier. That's the best sponsor in the world, dude. Those guys are the absolute best.
Dude, you've grown up. You used to have energy drink sponsors, and now you have beer sponsors.
Yeah. I don't know what the final thing is, like prune juice or something like that.
Yeah,
magnesium. But yeah. Rainier still very much so on the team. We got me. It's Mason Jar, and I think we were the first athletes they'd sponsored since a couple stock car racers in the 1980s were the last people who were on. But yeah, Rainier's the shit, man. I love Rainier.
So is it only skiers?
Mason Jar is snowboarder.
Okay, so snow sports, let's say.
Yeah, and then I think they're looking for maybe a mountain biker, maybe a female mountain biker or female snowboarder or rider too. So if anyone's itching to be on the team, hit me up. Send me a DM.
Well, that's it. Thanks for doing it.
Yeah, you bet.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, dude. Appreciate it. And yeah, maybe I'll see you for some follow cams this winter in Baker.
Dude, that's my dream.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Well, yeah, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.
This is it for episode 46 with Parker White. Thanks to the sponsors, Access Boardshop and Dic Anns Restaurants. Also, big shout out to the patrons on Patreon. Peace.